It is 7:16 and I'm going to call the Wednesday, February 26th meeting of the Library Board of Trustees to order. First on our agenda is public forum. Seeing none, I'm going to slide into our director's report.
Okay, I'm gonna try to find the director's report. So your director's report is going to be very brief this month, and one of the things I wanted to make sure that I noted just off the top. Oh, Kate's here.
I just texted you and said, don't worry about that.
Oh, I made it.
Is with town meeting coming up and the building project, repair project. The honest truth is that Lynn and I are at or past capacity and are having to really be choosy about what we spend our time on. So I wanted to say that out loud to this group. Just as I said on the record, we're doing our best, but know that many weekends are spent getting things done for March 22nd. So if you're wondering why your director's report might not be as robust this month, and I would say probably expect the same next month, but if there's specific things you want me to focus on or that are priority, let me know and we can make sure that those happen. So no surprises here in terms of the statistics. We're doing really well over last year this time, which is really nice to see in digital circulations. Kind of on track everywhere else, up in registered card holders. Those numbers aren't, gigantic. So when you see a large increase, sometimes it's a small variable. Busiest hours haven't changed really. We continue to see the same ones, Friday afternoons, Saturdays. And our hotspots and jigsaw puzzles continue to be, I mean, I think it's the time of year, right? Everybody's puzzling or puzzled, in my case. I am sure that Ed, and when we get to the library building committee part, we'll talk more about this, but I did just want to mention repair project important dates, February 25th, which was yesterday. We had our select board meeting and presentation of the repair project. Ed and I were able to give a presentation, and I will probably hold my comments on that until we get to Ed's portion, but we had really positive results, so glad it's over A, but glad it went well. B, Monday, we have our advisory finance committee presentation for the repair project, and then March 12th at 6:30 p.m. here at the library, we have our public forum with presentations from LPA, Vertex, myself, Ed, and really kind of the main star of that night, the option for questions and answers from the public. So just wanted to mention that in this report so that everybody could do their best to attend if possible and support the project as library trustees. That would be amazing. We also made sure that Westborough TV will be there to record. Another little note, they're also coming tomorrow. I feel prepared for Lynn. We met with them earlier this week, I think on Monday? On Monday, to talk about an idea we had to do these very between 30 and 90 second short clip videos of question and answers about the building repair project that we could then gather into a playlist, but also post one at a time on social media or TikTok or things like that. Just very small, to the point, specific question and answers. Things like, what is the third floor gonna look like? Or
What about parking?
what are you doing about parking? Yeah, when are you moving? And just having, I'm not the only one answering them, Lynn is not the only one, we're pulling kind of all the staff to answer it, so that this is a twofold. A, it puts a face to the people who work here and the humans behind the project and who it impacts, but also puts it into very consumable chunks. I'm not gonna sit and watch a 20-minute presentation, that's not me, unless I have to, but I will watch a 30 or a 90-second clip on TikTok and hoping that we get kind of more people to learn more about the project in a way that stays exciting and isn't just the same thing being posted over and over again. So we're doing our first batch, we're recording that tomorrow, and then we'll do more as time allows.
If you, excuse me, if you post to public information, sort of, what these are you going to keep comments on or off?
All of our social media has comments on, for now.
All right. Sometimes they just,
Yep, but as a policy, we don't censor anything.
well, this isn't censored, it's really, it's just not making. it
Right, but
available.
as we have them on, if we were to then shut them off, the appearance is that we're then censoring
Okay,
people's
all right,
opinions, right? So that
everybody,
should,
everybody's aware of the issue, so.
yeah, right, and just history wise, it is something we discussed as a board a couple of years ago during COVID, when there was a lot of interaction, and we were like, do we leave it on, do we not? And we kind of said that, like, we're just gonna leave it on and respond to things if needed as we go forward.
Yeah, and I think we're gonna see a lot more of that as we get closer to March 22nd and even beyond. With people having different opinions about a project of this scale.
Are we gonna be able to respond to the alternative facts that may appear?
So I think we do it in a very factual way of linking our FAQs and our library building, like, I don't envision us one-on-one engaging in a back and forth with the
No.
patron, but putting them in the path of the right information, I think is an appropriate response to something like that.
That's what I was hoping.
Yeah, I think that was part of why we wanted those FAQs there, so that should a question come up, we just can copy paste or link, we've got the answers. Right there, ready to go for most of the questions that people are asking. But we've also seen some posts that are out there just meant to engage in a way that's negative, and I agree, it's really not about going at it in that way.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I think that those will be positive, we'll see how those go, just another way to get the information out there that's different. We're trying everything. Mini golf, just because that happened since we met, I believe, last time. It was really, really successful. We sold 168 tickets for the Friday night event.
How many, I'm sorry?
168. And we had over, I think, 220 golfers on the Saturday free event, which was really great too. So both events were really well attended. I don't have final numbers between Friends and Foundation mix, but preliminarily, I can say that we did raise over $11,000 just on the Friday night. And that's profit, which is wonderful.
So just a huge thank you to Maureen Johnson and our foundation and friends for putting that together.
They were wonderful to work with and wonderful to have them work together. It was a great thing to see. So I'm very, it makes me feel very positive about the ability to raise funds to help assist with getting the cost of the library building project down as we move forward with that. Staffing updates, you guys will be really excited because we've been talking about it the last 2 months. Select board approved the reader services position on 2/11, so that was over 2 weeks ago. Now, we are we can't post it until it's a union position, we can't post it until the union position has a chance to impact bargain if they so choose. And so we're still kind of in a waiting, we're waiting for that. Once that happens, we can post the position, interview and hire and train that position. So we're getting closer, but for now we are still feeling a full-time absence. And then I threw in just a couple of departmental updates. Our departments have started doing monthly reports for us and pulled out a couple of highlights from those just to kind of show you a little bit of work that our departments are doing. Some program stats, just to basically say we are still doing an extraordinary amount of programming with really well attended programs that are varied in what they cover. So I look forward to, probably not next month, but the month after that, having a reader services departmental update as well. So, that was what I had for director's report.
Any questions or comments? Right. Thank you so much. Next up on our agenda is library repair project updates. So
Okay.
I just want to start off by saying a huge thank you to Kate and Ed for their presentation last night. I thought you did a great job and it was very well received, so take it away, Ed.
So, several things to talk about. First off is town meeting. Our article for town meeting has been finalized, the warrant's closed, so that's locked. It has a new ask in it, which I'll be talking about in just a minute. It also includes an easement, approves an easement for National Grid. To digress on that for a little bit, as part of the project, we're gonna build a transformer to be the power supply for the library. It'll be over near the Park Street entrance. And in order to do that, National Grid requires an easement that allows them to enter the property to do whatever maintenance they need to do. So we've added, the article includes a provision for that easement, it has to be voted on from the town. And the easement says that the trustees can grant the easement as needed. So I'd like to have the trustees meet at town meeting after the library vote, so that we can vote to approve that easement. So I assume we will. If I'm wrong, I'll be embarrassed. And literally on Monday, we tell National Grid we're all set. We can go.
Can't we proactively do that? We can do that now, based on,
So that, yeah,
Approval
we
at
can
town
do, if it passes, then
Right.
yeah, okay. Okay, so let me come back to that later in the meeting, because I want to think, I need to go look at the article and make sure I can word the motion correctly. But,
Alright.
okay, so that was one. So more thing, for construction, and we can put up numbers on this if you're interested, Kate has it all in the machine. We got bids in for from the general contractor who's gonna be doing the work here in the library. There were 7 bidders. If you could scroll down a little bit, they're 2/3 of the way down those numbers. Which is a good response, a lot more than you might necessarily get. The lowest bid was for $8.3 million and some others, but they went up to, I think 6 of the 7 bids were lower than our estimate. This was like $1.3 million lower than our estimate. So that comes right out of the cost of the project. It doesn't come out of the town's budget, so or the town's capital expenditures and so on. So that's great. That will ripple through a lot of other things, as you can see. The project total. Let's see, is that the total project cost now? It's estimated at 13.49 million as opposed to 15.7.
so on the left.
Yeah, so the one on the bottom, that's our estimate from before, and the one on the right is based on that bid. So that bid is about 65% of the total construction cost. There's other costs in there. We need to pay the architect, we pay the owner's project manager. Are y'all familiar with owner's project manager at the school? Okay, good. There may be, we'll need to pay for the move and fitting out the temporary library. Need to pay for furnitures, fixtures and equipment, and there's some other stuff. So, but by getting an actual bid, that's a contractual number now. If we approve the contract, that's what it's gonna cost. We really, there's a lot of uncertainty. It's gone now. We have a lot tighter error bars around that number, the 12,400,000 number. And in fact, the error bars are tight enough. That's what we've asked for at town meeting. So, that's our budget. And it's actually, it's kind of nice from my perspective to have it out there, because the contractor can see that. If they don't know what it is already, they're insane.
Yeah.
But so now that gives them a number. If something happens to push it over, they know there's gonna be a lot of pushback. So Which doesn't mean nothing will happen, you know, you could open up a wall and find an asbestos laden toxic waste dump or something, you don't want that to happen. Let's see. The bids, we had two alternates. One was for the new book drop that Kate requested a few back in December. And one is for adding storm windows to the 1980 part of the building. We accepted the first one, the book drop, that has very considerable implications for the library operations, so we wanted to do that. We rejected the storm windows to our HVAC consultant, and Pete Dunbeck, who's sort of the town sustainability guy, both said we were not gonna pay that back. You know, the windows would break before we made that money back. It didn't make any sense to do that. So that's the costing. Let's see, relocation, we have dropped, Kate and Vertex OPM have been working with, I think, 3 companies who relocate libraries in their own Massachusetts bid list, which means we don't have to do so much pre-qualification. They are now working on getting us, I think the term is order of magnitude estimates for what that move is gonna cost. We should have them next week. So that will take, we have that, we've estimated that at 250,000. Hopefully it'll be considerably less than that, and next week will down. The other sort of big thing coming is the temporary library fit out. We need to get that building ready for the library fit out, constructing the construction term, ready for us to move in. Which in particular, there's 2 big threats to that. One is whatever we do over there has to be approved by the fire department and the building department to say, yes, this is safe. It's not gonna catch fire, you know, if something happens, people can get out, the building's not gonna collapse. All those things that you don't worry about because it's a building, but if you're in the building department and the fire department, you do worry about it, and it's a good thing. So anyway, we don't know exactly what we need to do there. We probably will need to change the fire alarm panel, we need to work some sprinklers. There may be some wiring that we do not know. But we had allocated $600,000 for that, we brought it down to 300,000, 330. Which still leaves us, because we're not paying rent for the building, it's, and that leaves us a lot of headroom. So we're very confident we can get it done with that. I'm hoping we can get it done for a third of that. But I hope is not the same as a promise here, so. We have engaged a fire and life safety consultant company that was gonna be, they're gonna survey the library, survey the building, create a plan, create documents that we'll show that we or they will show the fire department, the building department, say, so they can say, yes, this will work, or no, or whatever. And do whatever testing and just like that. And give us a cost estimate. So they know the schedule. I haven't specifically asked if they'll get us numbers by town meeting, but I think we should push for that. We'll get the, so we'll, at least at town meeting, we'll have a much firmer idea of how much that part is gonna cost. Let's see. So the schedule, assuming the vote passes, do you wanna show the schedule graphic?
Sure.
Just, everybody says it's a nice graphic, so I will show it off. Assuming we pass, assuming the vote passes. We plan to stay in the library, probably until mid-May. So we need to have the temporary library be ready to move into, and then we take that date minus however long it's gonna take to move, so you take 2 months to get it ready, 2 weeks to move. In any case, be in this building until mid-May. It's taking about 2 weeks to get to the other building, reopen on June 2nd, that's a target date that I just sort of stated. We'll have to see what the moving companies and the fit out things you have to say about that, but we want to have. The longer we wait, the more expensive things get, so we don't want to wait. So this is the sort of the flow chart. We'll be in the permanent library, as I said, for 6 weeks, something like that. 2 weeks to move, and the temporary library for a year to 14 months. Then get things ready over here and move back. there are a lot of sort of sub milestones in there. I don't even know what they all are yet. We're gonna be getting that as we get into the construction phase. Let's see. Anything else on the sort of the technicalities of library? Have I missed anything? Oh, there's one thing came up, yesterday. We were talking about, or this morning, yesterday, we were talking about, LPA, the architect, is doing graphics, and they've done renderings of different parts of the building based on a 3D model of the new building. They're beautiful. And one of the things that came up is the rendering of that adult reading room has the magazine racks in it. There's wooden magazine racks that go around the side. So, and LPA thought, oh, that's supposed to be there. Whereas, Kate and Lynn thought, oh, those are supposed to be gone. So, that topic is gonna come in front of the building committee on the next meeting, which will be the 11th. The problem is, we have, we've got the bid. The bid is for doing it the way it is. And if we have to do change orders, it may drive, so anyway, we'll hash through that with the full committee. But it would be nice if y'all take a look, give me your thoughts if you care, or give Kate your thoughts, whichever.
So everyone's giving your thoughts on looking at the two rooms downstairs with the shelving that's in place now along.
Right, it's along those two walls.
Yeah, I
Patient
think
for me or
when-
not.
Yeah, so when we brought it up, Lynn and I have had a number of meetings with LPA, Christina from them, on kind of programmatic things, which are really mostly at our discretion when it comes to functionally right at the library. And one of the things that had come up in that meeting, we were talking about some finishes. Was the
Stacks.
how to change those rooms to adult rooms, knowing we would need to add stacks to those rooms. Because our adult collections are reducing so much to accommodate for the restrooms in the teen area. And so how do we fit more books in those rooms and still have them be functional as a place to gather, a place to read? And in that conversation, we remember
Yeah,
that they were coming out, but I think we're the only ones who remember they were coming
Coming
out.
out and being replaced by stacks.
By stacks,
Being-
by stacks on casters that could move and be a little more so the problem with the built-ins is half of them are magazine style, and so therefore are really only useful for periodicals. And also they're 3 high and the lower ones are really unusable because we have a lot of patrons who cannot reach the bottom shelf. And so the other thing it does is borders the room, and so we lose a good amount of square footage just in access to those shelving units, right? We're limited to kind of the middle of the room so that people have access to them.
yeah, they needs to be 36 inches from the shelf as space.
So we can really kind of put a couch in the middle of the room and that's about it. So those are things that we're looking at in terms of practicality and usage, flexibility of those spaces. I think the architect and Vertex's kind of point of view is that we're not sure what's behind them. So we have to do some work to figure out, is there wiring behind them, which I don't think there is, but what does the wall look like behind it? And do we have to figure out, do we have to now, instead of refinishing the shelving units, do we have to refinish the wall? And how does that impact budgeting? So that's kind of what's up in the air now. So I do think it's a good practice to go down there and look at them, because especially the ones in the teen area, I think are in worse shape.
Yeah, and they've been painted and they're not original. The ones in the in Jen's, where Jen's desk is, they're not original to the space. I think the only ones that are at the fireplace side, and only part of those are. You can see the ones that are on the right hand side were installed probably with the 1980 edition during that renovation. And I mean, Kate and I were talking this morning, like wainscoting that area is completely fine with us. I mean, it carries through in the room, it would be
We just wanted to
totally
use-
fine, we just need the space.
Yeah, so take a look.
So if we go with an alternative to this, do you have recommendations as to what the alternative should be? I mean, wainscoting is
Yeah, it's
Especially
just, I mean, like,
why
I mean, in terms of repairing the wall, like,
Oh, we don't care.
we don't care, like, whatever
We
it
just want the
is, like,
shelves gone so that we can have
we need
useful
the space.
So I think we're open to whatever
LPA,
option
yeah.
would be comparative in price to refinishing the. You know,
And just as a thought, this kind of thing is gonna come up.
oh yeah,
Oh,
So
yeah,
it's not a
absolutely.
big, it's something to deal with, but it's not a disaster.
Well, this is not a showstopper, it's not a
No.
showstopper by any means.
No.
Um,
It's not a showstopper, but
I like that.
everything has a price tag from a certain point going forward with changes, then that's what
Yeah.
the
Yes.
committee
That's-
really is mine.
I should say the budget has just over $1 million of contingencies, which is basically headroom for things like this. So, and, you know, ideally, we don't have to use them and the town gets $1 million back and we don't have to pay taxes to pay that much loan, but, you know, the real world may or not.
Yeah. I think there's gonna be a lot, to Kate's point, there's gonna be a lot of things that come up like this, I mean, we can't be
It's hard.
experts in every single detail that comes up. I think for me especially, having come in at the tail end of the project in a time where we were really time crunched for. Like, when I came in, it was like, we have to get this estimate done.
Yeah.
And so let's just get stuff on paper.
Yeah.
And so, you know, I've not been here since 2012 and know I've like been a part of every single decision. And I'm mindful of changing things, and really only doing things that I think are gonna have a real impact on how we use this building for the next 10, 20 years. So, what I don't wanna do is do things because it's how they're in the project and then have the project end and have to rip them out then,
Yeah.
right? So I think those are the things that we're looking at, but I guarantee things like that are gonna come up.
I think one of the implicit project promises we're making in the town is that we're not gonna do anything major for a decade or more.
Yeah.
You know, so let's try to avoid that.
Yeah, and it's, the big stuff is pretty much set, so
Yes.
stuff like this may be
Yeah.
a minor thing, but we're not talking $73,000.
Yeah.
Right.
So we're being
I
thoughtful.
feel like it might even just be a wash, because they were talking about refinishing all of
Right,
the
it could
shelves,
be.
I mean,
It
it
could
could
be,
just end
yeah.
up.
So we're being thoughtful, we're being.
The other thing though is contractors, you know, if you change something, they're gonna bring costs up. Even if it helps them, they have that opportunity. So it's
Yeah.
And do
Anyway.
we know when they were installed? And
Like I said, I think the ones that are on the reading room side, the
Mhm.
fireplace side, are original to the building, the 1906 building, for two sides, underneath the windows and on the left-hand side. The ones that are installed on the right are not original, and you can see.
yeah, I'm just wondering if there are
Yeah.
any pictures of the
I
one,
don't
of
I
that
don't
room
know.
when they were not there.
Dylan might have something.
No, again, I think on that side, the original, I think on Jen's side, they were put in to match.
Yeah.
Because you can tell by the quality of the shelving
Oh,
and the style, it's completely different.
I will say, if you. We could put, if it becomes a
looked that
major
closely.
question, we can ask LPA to do renderings either way. And the renderings are startlingly nice, good. My only problem is they're so clean and shiny. That's-
They
I
are,
don't know if
that's
it
the
matters
thing.
that
Yeah, I
much.
think to your point, a lot of these things are gonna come up, especially when we start moving things in the building or taking things out. Especially when we get to the FF&E discussion, and so I think it will be helpful for us and the library building committee to really. Figure out at what level it needs to be a full committee discussion and decision, and when it's okay for board chair.
Right.
Trustee board chair or director to kind of.
I think I can answer a lot of that question. If it takes a change order,
Yeah.
it has to go to the building committee.
Yeah, I think that makes
If there's no
sense.
change order, then it's, we can figure out it for.
Yeah.
And all the FF&E right now, that's not in the existing contract, so.
Right.
That we can work out on the fly as we need to, so.
Yeah, yeah, we had that discussion with Christina, so that makes sense.
Good question for you, Ed. When we move into the community center, and you said we have to do some reconstruction
Mhm.
things there, will that stay in place for when everybody else moves in? Are we
Yes.
paying for something that is only gonna be temporary for us, but a good thing for the town, that maybe we can say, this is our
We-
gift to you?
Look, I can answer, we are trying to make no irreversible, we're trying to not do anything except move our stuff in there. We won't be able to do that because of the fire things. So, but for those things, we will coordinate with the rec department and, you know, all the appropriate town authorities and the rec department's architects and so on. So that we put in something that they can reuse. Or at least not. You know, we don't wanna put in, there's a fire alarm panel. I don't even actually know what a fire alarm panel is, but it's important and it's obsolete in that building. And it seems likely that we're gonna have to replace it in order to get an occupancy permit, just have anyone in there. Why the rec department is in there now is a different question, but. But anyway,
Well, I'm just looking for
yeah,
reimbursements.
but, yeah, no, I actually brought up the question of reimbursement with town manager a few weeks ago, and I don't think there's really in that direction.
I think the take is that it's all taxpayer
It all
money
comes out of the
going
town,
to the town, regardless of what project it's going to. So it feels like we're paying for it as the library, but when you zoom out, it's really the taxpayer paying for a taxpayer project. So it's a
Right, but if we
wash.
could get our name off of being that particular lump of
Yeah.
money and saying, well, they'll need to do that
It's-
anyway.
I don't think it's gonna be that big of a
Oh,
chunk of
okay.
money.
Yeah.
We
it's
just
what
had
the-
our panel replaced here at the
We
library.
had to do the same
We
thing.
had to do the same thing, it was about $1,500.
Oh, I thought it was
Yeah,
like,
Yeah.
I don't know if
And
it's a
the,
difference because it's a bigger building, but
The
The
whole
electrical
yeah.
stuff.
IT system, Kate has been working with Mark Stockman, who's the town's IT director, he thinks that can be done for under 10,000. So if we, you know, if we're in the few tens of thousands of dollars range, I see, we will take that one for the team.
Yeah.
And then we'll brag about it.
but let them know.
Yeah, exactly.
I wanna get them to know.
But yeah,
Especially
the,
because anything we do that has lasting value is gonna be cheaper if we do it sooner than if they have to wait a couple
Absolutely.
of years to do it, so.
it's, we may not be able to do everything, I have the impression that they're gonna have to redo the entire sprinkler system because of what they're doing to the interior layout. We're going to not redo the sprinkler system because we're not doing anything to the interior layout. Yeah, you wanna show the layout? Do you want us to be
Sure,
on?
it's just gonna take me a second to get up.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, Kate and her team came up with a very rough draft interior layout, which was great. I've been thinking, is anyone doing this? And is anyone doing this? And then I looked and there's a police tape diagram or something on a whiteboard showing it. Oh, it was
That's
great.
actually,
You
you can
want
see
me
it
to
if you go in.
Yeah, and
Yeah, look at that, that's easier.
yeah, that's, we don't need to look at the fine print on the architectural drawing. There is, but it's, right now, it's mostly open space, 20,000 feet of open space. And we're just gonna keep it open space and move shelving in.
Using the
it's
stacks.
actually downstairs.
That's okay. Well, Kate can send out
No,
that.
it's, go back to where the elevator is, it's on the way to the
It's
elevator,
right.
yeah.
I think it's fine. I think you can just send it out.
That's
It's
what I
using
think, too.
stacks creatively to create those barriers and since there is that potential for possibly eventually having to condense the space we're using to the back half, what's already out in the front is more strategic so that it doesn't impact those crucial areas.
My view is always, how can we be as persuasive of being good citizens and good proprietors of a library to point out, look, you know, we're doing this and it's gonna enhance everyone's life.
Yeah.
Great.
Because persuasion comes from all different angles. There'll be one person who's focused on something.
So the
There is.
second
Oh, look at
board.
I was, so the little red box on the bottom is the tower that you go up to Boston Sports Club in. And the main entrance is up, like 3/4 of the way up on the left, where it says Surf Fest. Right there, yeah.
These are the doors you walk into, the handicap accessible doors. And this has changed a little bit, this is kind of our version that we worked and handed over to Christina from LPA. Try to come up with like an actual rendering of what we were looking for, and she kind of done like that. These are fitting rooms, current fitting rooms, just these strange little, those are changing rooms that have these temporary stalls in that would be very easy to rip out. So our plan with them is to rip those out and reallocate those spaces for a small program room, so we can do some crafts in there. friend storage in one of them so that they can have all their cards there, they can sort there. And then this one to store all of our local history, kind of in the same way that it's stored now. Take those big cabinets and put them in that area, get a door installed. There's a couple little things like that that we talked to Christina about. Has everyone been to this space or seen it? Okay, so just picture like a Sears, right? Like just very big open. These orange lines are basically like walkways that are built into the floor, so kind of like a yellow brick road, right? And so our goal was to embrace that yellow brick road and
So
how,
it's like tile walkways with carpet,
yeah, carpet in the
everywhere.
middle.
yeah.
And then these strange tile walkways. And so we really worked with the architecture that already exists there. And so blocking this off with stacks to make kind of a de facto children's room. Teen room kind of right next to it that is actually expanded to here in the latest version. And then adult nonfiction, all the adult stacks back here. It also kind of serves twofold. So that should they decide to go forward with the senior center project while we're still in there, as difficult as that would be, we kind of don't have to move the children's room, the teen space, or the large stacks. They're back here. The things we would have to move are the shorter stacks, the furniture, things that are a little bit easier to move and cram in this small space, but we can make it work. Existing offices, we would have to do some work. Existing offices, we would have to do some work. Processing back area. There's also a mezzanine with stairs and a lot of space upstairs. It's unfinished space, but it's space. But we could also
Unfinished, I think
use-
not climate controlled.
We're not sure.
Yeah, not very climate controlled.
We're not sure. But that we kind of have an idea of really how to set this up in a Barnes and Noble bookstore style setup. That I think will really work. Will it be soundproof? No, but it doesn't matter because we've got a gym on top of us where they're bouncing balls and all, like, it's cool, we'll figure it out. And then really using this space this is actually, when the senior center goes in, they're using this as their program room, their multi-functional room, whatever they call it. And so we're gonna provide a little bit of proof of concept in that space for them by using that as kind of our primary programming space as well. So that's. And we get to use the a desk that's already there. It's already their checkout space and using that as our circ. So we don't have to bring over a circ desk or look for a new circ desk. It's already there. So. Yeah.
I don't see the.
It's right in the middle.
Oh, okay, thank you.
It's at your house. Like I said. But yeah. Yeah, so this is what we've been working on kind of preliminarily, but just know that we have a plan where we are not building any walls. We might have to address some doors and some locks and some security things. But temp space is really, it's been fast and furious because we really didn't know where we were gonna end up until late in the process, but that our staff is working really hard on it. Our adult services librarian Tracy and Caitlin, our technology and collections librarian, have joined kind of that team to try to really work hard on this. Finland and I don't have time, which is always. So they've done a good job. But just let you know what's been going on with temp space.
That's awesome.
And yeah, thank you for your question, because that will come up. People don't want us to build a palatial library there and then tear it down in a year. I think one of our mantras is gonna wind up being, we can live with it for a year.
Yep. Yep, we're flexible.
Yeah. The other couple of things I have, is outreach. Janine arranged a presentation at the Willows. That was very well attended. We had, I think, 20 plus people in the audience.
Right.
It's our largest yet. I think the Willows people were embarrassed they hadn't filled up the room more, but that reminds me, we have a candidates night on Sunday, don't we? Okay.
What did you say? There was a
Candidates night on Sunday.
Oh, right, yeah.
So I have to get my brain in gear for that now. Sorry, digression. And Mike set up the presentation at Del Webb, which also very well attended with, I think, a dozen residents at Del Webb. And
I think it was
When?
16.
Yeah.
So, yeah, 16, that's right, Len and Janine and I were there, Len did a great job, I think that was your first presentation like that,
Yeah.
excellent, it's a good job.
I'll also get another member of the library.
Oh, Carrie.
Carrie.
Oh, yeah, that's right, Carrie came.
Yeah.
She was an active, non-presenter, but an active participant.
Of course.
Yeah,
She's
so you don't seem surprised.
No, I'm not.
She's terrific.
So, so those I think were helpful, you know, for the 30 or 40 people that were there. Most of them seem like they're gonna be in favor of the library, and some of them may make it to town meeting, so.
Yeah, we have another, I think we have another senior center one planned for March.
I think or no, they didn't cancel the last one because nobody was signed up, that was
Oh, okay.
February, I don't know what, I'm not sure what the
I'll
status of
reclaim
that
that
is.
time, that's fine.
Check with Amy though, she's, I follow her lead, it's good, but, and then of course we have the information session on March 12th coming up. And the presentation to the finance committee on Monday the 3rd, so also coming up. So,
And then Lynn and I are going to, we've been invited
Westborough Women's
to
Club.
the Westboro Women's Club to join them in their luncheon, and while
And that's the.
we're there to present, we're also
Day
there
of
for
the
the
12th.
food.
Yeah.
So,
What's it called? On, that's also the.
on the 12th,
March 12th, it's also gonna be on the 12th.
yes.
And it's our English tea, so.
I'm so excited.
Yeah,
Yeah.
appropriately. No,
Oh, no.
no, don't worry about that.
I have a uniform, I wear the same thing in a different color every day. Can't be switching that.
Where for?
Find
your fancy
hat. I went
That's
out
right.
to the store there, on the circle, and bought a used flower that I'm gonna wear again this year, cause it's the only flower thing I own.
Smart.
But I'm on the committee, so you guys are guests, you don't have to do that. Some people are
We
bringing,
should.
huh?
I feel like we should, we'll do something.
You can wear a fascinator, some,
Yeah, you need a
or
hat.
white gloves.
We'll choose one from the mystery
There you go.
hat rack.
you should bring it out.
It'll be fun, and my sister may be there too,
Oh.
she suddenly told me she's coming next week, so. It'll be-
That's fun, so we're excited about that,
Yeah.
so we're open to anyone who wants us to present that we can fit in the schedule. We are happy to do that.
Absolutely, I'm happy to do the money stuff and I can't do library operations, but I can talk about the building project. So.
Any questions for Ed? Fantastic
See
job.
the stuff in your head at night.
Lately I've been so tired, there's very little in my head, and I go through.
I watched it on YouTube and the presentation was really well done. Both of you.
Oh, good.
Ed, did you wanna do bird since it's other building?
Oh, wait, time for that, okay, yeah,
Not quite yet.
oh, okay, not yet, all
One more
right.
thing, I just wanted to make sure everyone was aware of that. The other accomplishment of last night's select board meeting is that our article is no longer number 20, it is now number 9.
All right.
so
Great.
Put the word out, number 9, people,
Okay.
get to town meeting early, yay,
Now that it's official, we can
We're
start
gonna
doing
have
that.
we'll have a banner out front,
fantastic.
Article 1.
Article
Love it.
I just wanted to say about the presentation last night. What I look for in the response of people, you know, so when you got up to speak. Everyone on the committee that were sitting there, were sitting like this. And when you got up and showed those first pictures, they all went like this. And they stayed in that position while you were talking. Then they went back, got it, you know, and then when you got up with all of the other ones, which were more. At first, they were, because I told you, you have to really project more of your voice, because they kind of hesitated and then they were right in it. And when they lean towards you, you know you've got them. They're just sitting in there straight up, like you haven't won them over yet, but when they're like this, you know you bought it in, and they're in. So I was watching each time. And they all started with the same affect, you know, sitting like this, and then before you know it, you drew them in, and that is what changes people's minds. They don't even know what's happening, it's the art of persuasion, so keep it up, eye contact, and just a little bit more with your voice, because you have a lot of, you know, you can present. It's just you were swallowing.
Okay, I'll try to talk water.
And I wrote a smashing poem about it, you know, but it's the men who are sitting there, I call them the stuffed beef as it was I have an assignment for my writing class that you have to make up a menu of a recipe for some event you're gonna. And so there was 6 men, stuffed and dressed, like food, and the whole thing was about that, and then there was a sprinkling of some enthusiasm, and then that long section where before you got up, I thought I was gonna kill myself. But yes, do you see the difference, how they didn't get any kind of emotional reaction at all about that topic? And then when you got up, it was dry in and suck you in, and that's.
I think it also helped that we were saving money.
Yeah,
That's-
well, that's part of the
No, like
presentation.
that.
Yes, and you kept saying that, and you had that one phrase about, which I thought was brilliant, when you said, we have to do more with the sprinkling system because books are wood.
Yeah.
And it was so perfect because people don't think that.
Yeah.
It's just a building.
trying to call them Kingdom, but I went for it.
Yes, and that's very persuasive, so I was really pleased.
So now on to
Okay, this
other
is a,
building related
this is sort of a
issues.
short talk.
Another one. We got a lot of them. We're very interactive tonight. Yes.
Are there presents?
I think that's your comment.
It was so tired, I saw it. I didn't sleep well last night, so when I came home from my. Okay, I'm convinced.
So, maybe a little more than a year ago, we asked, we knew about the arsenical
Yep.
birds down there. And we had a second case, which was actually out of public view in the back, and it just looked horrible, but some of the birds had fallen off.
Yeah.
The design was not great, and so on. So the ecotarian, gentleman named Marty Christensen, who's their head of, he's a collections manager, I believe is the right title, said, well, we'll take a look at this and we can redo it for you. So they did, and this is it.
Did a great job.
It's they've rearranged it now. I think it may have been by habitat or something before, but the tree here is the evolutionary tree. These are the quail down here, sort of the ancestral birds, and these are more specialized and further up the tree. They like to do things like that. There's a key here if anyone is interested. So anyway, this is what it looks like for this one. We have asked them to give us an estimate for doing the bigger cage. This one they did for free. I think the guy just likes doing this stuff.
Yeah.
But I've told them that there's a lot of expertise, there's a lot of time, there's a lot of skill to do this stuff and some physical resources. So we're not asking them to do it for free, we just want them to tell us what they're gonna charge, what they think it's I was supposed to get an answer on Friday, but I've been distracted having both the phone, so I don't have a number yet. At some point in the future, hopefully by the next trustees meeting, I'd like to have a meeting and bring it to a vote to, assuming it's a reasonable number, pay them to do that out of the library trust funds.
Mhm.
So that's a heads up. Yeah, I think this is it's
Yes.
so much better.
They look so alive.
Yeah.
Can we get some visibility for this on the website?
I'd like to, I'll leave that up to Kate. I think it's a great idea. We need to figure out somewhere to put it also.
We were hesitant to put it up only because we're gonna be taking it down.
Yeah,
No, I mean, even just a picture of this stuff, it's not something that folks are used to seeing in any library.
I think I agree. I think I would wait until after town meeting, because I don't want it to get lost in
Yeah.
all the
Good
other
point.
media stuff, and I think it warrants its own publicity.
Mm.
So yeah, I'm like holding off just a little bit, but not forgetting about it. It'd be great. It's open, by the way.
oh, yes, I think, did I give you the key for that?
It's in it.
It's in the locker.
Okay, yeah, we should block it, because we don't wanna. No, you were trying to. Okay,
These would be wonderful pieces to unveil in the new
right,
situation, so you have, the past. The old building and the old birds.
assuming everything comes through, I think we should make something of this. Do it with the other thing, and then to give the bigger case a grand send off to the
Yes.
ecotarian, and then when it comes back.
And invite them to the
Oh,
unveiling.
absolutely, and vaguely, they are always looking for partners.
Yeah.
So, if we can think of anything,
No.
uh,
Yeah.
I mean, we find a way to thank them for this as well.
I honestly, Janine has done thank you cards for them, but she's waiting for me to review them. I haven't done that yet, but
And
yes.
do we need to, is there a way to care for this now, or it just is?
Well, that's why we had it up on the table with nobody touching, because it is very delicate.
It's, you don't wanna bang it too hard. If you were to look,
Yeah, there's two feathers.
there's a few feathers around somewhere that fell off the blue jay while we were bumping it across the Eco-Terms parking lot in a cart.
Hmm.
It's not. You can see it's not heavy and you don't want to open it. So the maintenance really is just wiping it down. There are actually 4 birds, I'm sorry, from the old one that aren't here. There's a metal arc that just didn't fit. There was something that looks like a sparrow, but nobody on the ecotarian staff could identify. And 2 birds, small birds, hummingbirds, that had not been well preserved and were sort of turning brown and drab. So, but these birds are very near 100 years old. So, the preservation of the birds themselves is not that big an issue once you dip them in arsenic, you know, it's.
Yes.
So,
Great job.
yeah, I'd hope to be able to ask y'all to vote on doing this time, but I don't have to vote on this.
Okay. Well, thank you so much.
That's wonderful. Makes me feel better about the birds.
Yeah.
Thank you, Anna.
You're welcome.
So now he's not only the business, building person, but he's for the birds.
We're just gonna touch base on our next agenda item, which is standing items, open items list. This is an older one, so a lot of this doesn't apply. Suggestion box, was there anything down there?
Elaine checked it, I don't believe, was there anything in the suggestion box? Oh,
There was, it's not a suggestion.
okay.
Is it feedback for us?
But
Okay, thank you. The comment suggestion is, hello, how about using the present library for the senior center, remove most of the modern addition, add parking and elevator, restore the building, use location under rec center for the library. So we thank you for your input. All of that has been discussed in great length in our building committee. So, and following the votes at town meeting, they want us to keep the library here and in this position, so that's what we're gonna do. So, thank you very much. Next one is getting to know the library staff. So I'd like to circle back on this one as it was a project that we started with Maureen. And so I'm gonna put in, like, revisit in an April timeline once town meeting vote is underway. And then we can talk about making plans for building relationships with staff and us in the future. So I'm gonna put you and I on that. Okay. So.
Maybe just put the open items list up there.
There's only 2 others. Quarterly newsletter, submitting things as.
Owen is no longer there, so there hasn't been.
Wonderful about that. Say on hold. On him. Position, okay. And then bird display, we just got a great update from Ed. And we're gonna be waiting on estimate.
Can I just add to the, I thought it was up there, but the outreach, so, Deb and I are reaching out to the schools about, town meeting. So I've emailed the principals and asked them to put I sent them a graphic from the upcoming info session.
Great.
So so they said that so I did hear back from just one of the principals, but I'm hoping that those will be in the weekly newsletters, and then just kind of reminding people that, the town meeting is on the 22nd, I didn't put articles in yet, so, and then, we'll reach out to the parent groups as well. I had offered to the Mill Pond parent group to, to attend, but I don't think the attendance is very high, so it didn't sound like it was, a good use of time, but just trying to get the.
Awesome, thank you.
Yeah, I will say,
Can we just put a pause on that, cause that's like in the agenda in 2 seconds, I just wanna finish.
Oh,
sorry,
Okay,
sorry.
That's okay, I just wanna finish this and get this up. Strategic plan, we can take that off, cause we're done, so, yeah, we can just, oh, no, yeah, I'm just gonna delete. Great, anything else we feel needs to be put on us at this time?
I just wanna say I'm really excited that I got the open items list in there, so.
Yeah, me too. Okay, great, so that's that. We did comment box, trustee outreach. Go ahead.
okay, I already mentioned the two things. I did, my comment on, you said like, I think it was Mill Pond Parent Group is pretty
Yeah.
small.
Yeah,
Janine and I had done talks for 2 people.
yeah,
So
okay.
they didn't know there were gonna be 2 people until we got there, but 2
Okay.
people, so. Pretty small. Is a relative thing. If we can get it, people, particularly, you know, that somebody engages enough to be in the parent group. I think it's probably worth talking to them, and I'd be happy to come out if something comes up.
Okay, I'll touch base with you.
Awesome. Thank you very much.
And I reached out to some of the schools as well, we'll see, some of the parent groups as well, we'll see what we hear.
Awesome. Okay, that brings us to library director, assistant director, any issues that we haven't touched base on and
I have one.
go for it.
Okay, my wife and I are gonna start the Appalachian Trail, a few days after town meeting. And so we will be gone some numerous months, we don't know exactly.
Oh,
So-
getting out of Dodge, huh?
We're gonna start in Virginia, at Harper's Ferry in Virginia, and go north. We want to be very sure we're not using Katahdin in November. That would be, that's too exciting. I've actually been up there in winter, it's too exciting. For me now, anyway, so for that period, I'm not gonna be able to fulfill my trustee duties. I've already told the building committee that, and they're working on finding a new chair. So I'll be resigning from that position soon after town meeting also. So,
It's a-
but hopefully, when I come back, there'll still be a seat here, so.
Yes, there will be. And we will miss you, but we're excited for your adventure.
And this sounds like a strange question, maybe, but how do you do the Appalachian Trail?
You
Out of walking.
start walking, and then you.
You
keep
really
going.
doing it? I mean, I've
Yes.
heard of people doing it.
No, it's
Oh, yeah, no, we're gonna start in Harper's Ferry, Virginia, unless it seems to be too cold, then we might go somewhere further south. And we'll start walking north, we'll go for about a month, and then we have some personal things that'll take us off the trail for a while, go back at the end of that, and just keep walking. You have people, you arrange shipments of food and supplies every week or so. And pick them up at trail towns,
You be good, Mount Katahdin.
and then it ends on Mount Katahdin.
Mhm.
I assume you section hiked it.
We have not, we've hiked a good bit, we haven't section hiked though, you know, we know how to hike, we know how to camp, what we don't know how to do is hike for months.
Endurance hiking.
Yeah, well, you know, we're not trying to be, I think somebody set a record for like 40 days to go 2,100 miles, on foot. So they're doing 60-mile days.
I think.
We're not
Okay,
getting,
so-
we're not in the league before that league, you know? We're gonna start with 6-mile days or something.
That's exciting.
Bill Bryce's book?
Hmm?
Have you read Bill
Yes,
Bryce's
I have.
book?
It's
That's a
fun.
fabulous book.
Isn't it?
Well, we wish you the best of luck. We hope every once in a while you send us a little update of where you are along your journey.
Julie, my wife is gonna set up a Facebook page, so.
Oh,
if
that'd be so
you're interested,
exciting,
let me
yes.
know.
Very much.
Please share it.
Please share that.
Well, it's private, let me know that you want to be in it.
I will
Mhm.
respond for sure. That's exciting.
But we will expect little diagrams of the building that you're going, you know, that will say, this is what I've been working.
He's shutting all of that off.
No, you can't ever stop
Yeah, be
working.
careful like that, I'm gonna come back and say, the library weighs too much, you need to cut the date by about 90%.
Yeah.
You're gonna be starting this when?
March 27th, we think. It, you know, one of the things about this is. You don't really have a schedule, we're gonna be here for town meeting, we're gonna be back in May for the family stuff. And we don't know how fast we're gonna walk, so,
I'm
and
super jealous.
we don't have to walk, the only thing that matters, we wanna be off before it gets really, really cold.
Yeah.
So.
That's exciting. Yeah, all right. Any other trustee issues? All right, so that brings us up to our treasurer's report.
The only things that I'm worried about right now are fuel and oil. We're at 70%. We were one of those winter heating bills that was way bigger than we ever expected, that we've ever seen before. It was $3,400. The largest one that I recall was like $2,600. So it really came to mind, and then Channel 5 did a whole thing about Eversource. So
Did you see that whole thing about, there's either rebates coming or reductions coming from that?
it's supposed to be a 10% reduction for this month, and we'll see if that
See if it
comes to
happens.
fruition. This is, yeah, this should be another big bill.
Yeah.
But we usually have like 2 more big bills, and right now, as you can see, we're at 70%, which is not great to be in. The other thing is we got estimates in to repair the air conditioning. And it looks like it would be about $6,000, which is 4,000 from ARC and then another 2,000 from Empower, which is our programming network person. Again, that's hopefully only if we get a no. Then we will need air conditioning this summer. Yes. And Kate thinks we need air conditioning in May.
Oh, we're gonna be
No.
packing and
No.
moving.
Yeah,
and
Kate,
stuff.
I will bring you over fans.
I told, oh,
We'll bring fans.
Kate is a spoiled millennial.
I just had this idea that we could raise the money for that by using our friend over there that we all bet on when he gets to a certain part, you know, and we get raffle tickets and, you know, and then whoever gets it gets a piece of that, and we can donate it to this. And you have to keep checking in, I'm on this place. I think that's what we're gonna put you on, with a little clicker then, so we always know where you are at all times.
Like an air tag.
We are gonna carry, Garmin makes this thing that keeps track of where you are, and if you push a button, it sends out a satellite phone call, because our kids wanna know where we are.
Yeah.
Y'all don't get that information.
But I think that would be kind of a compelling
Yeah.
story, you're
Yeah.
out there, but you're
Yeah.
still raising money. So think about how we could do it,
If all I have to do to raise money is walk, I'm gonna walk.
Yeah. step forward.
Any other questions or comments on treasurer's report?
Well, I wanna mention, we mentioned the air conditioning and the maintenance line and how we're really close on kind of both of
Yeah,
our
all of our.
maintenance lines, our HVAC and our maintenance line. I do wanna call attention to the fact that now I haven't seen the final town manager proposed budget yet. So I don't know what changes will be in there. All I know is the last version I saw, the town manager's recommendation was lowering those lines for us in an assumption that we're in temp space and we won't be maintaining a building like this moving forward with so many issues. I do think this will probably be the first year we may zero out in those. And jokes aside, I am concerned about not having AC in May and having movers in here and all of that and what that might look like with an unseasonably warm climate and possibly still being here in June. I know we're aiming for June
Yeah.
2.
AIM is not, we don't, yeah,
We may be in a position where we have to go to AFC and ask for funding for that. Do I think it's a bad thing in a year we're looking to revamp the building, that it's the first year we're spending all of this money on all of the, I think we've done a lot of work picking and choosing what we repair and what we don't. The pumps are a great example of that, which ultimately failed and we did have to pay for some repair on that.
So you're saying maintenance, HVAC would be lower because we'd be in a building with.
Yes, I believe the
But-
HVAC line is the one that's impacted
For
for
this
FY
repair.
26.
Basically, the town manager's thinking we'd have good equipment, so.
Or because we're not maintaining that building, or are we?
We are not maintaining that.
well, the cost of that will come Off the town budget, or
Right.
DPW.
DPW right now is.
And how would that impact how we would need to balance other things? Would it not?
I'm not sure, and I also don't know if we're responsible for maintaining the grounds of the library, even though we're not physically in it. And there will be other expenses, I don't know, like
Well,
the power that goes into the building, are we still paying for that? Are we still, like, all of those
like utility wise.
utility wise, Johnson Control is monitoring the fire
Yeah.
code in the building.
And that's
We pay
yearly
for that
cost.
monthly, like, so all of
All
those,
of
I'm
that is
thinking,
still in
it's
place.
still gonna come out of our budget.
Like,
That's,
I would think so.
let's raise those questions, on the 11th at the LBC meeting, so we can ask Vertex, so they will.
Can we
But-
shoot that
but I
out to them
agree with
ahead of
Mary. Yeah,
time
we
so
can-
they
yeah.
can look into it
Yeah.
before the 11th?
Yeah,
We
We
kind
can-
of touched base a little bit on it this week, like what falls on it, but let's shoot that out to them, say, be prepared
Yeah,
to talk about
yeah.
it.
Yeah, absolutely, give them the heads up,
Yeah.
But I agree with you, Mary, I think, electricity, water, sort of the general utilities here.
like, so
are
we
still gonna
don't
be
pay for
around.
electricity, but we do pay for everything else, we pay
Yeah.
for gas, for
Yeah.
heat and all that
Right.
stuff, and, like I said, Johnson controls all of the monitoring.
With regards to the ground, I think that will be up to the contractor, they're probably gonna destroy grounds anyway.
Yeah, I don't think there's
Right,
much traffic
right.
too.
But it doesn't hurt to get clarification.
Yeah, if. I'll try and send Brian, or,
Okay.
let me ask you to send him the
Sure,
email, just
to
copy
Brian,
everybody,
okay,
because
sure.
you'll have a better list than me.
Go ahead, Kate.
Not to pass to Paul. But should this, I'm not gonna say it, but should situations not go as we wish, we're gonna need more money in that budget line, and it's gonna be
Right.
too
Yeah.
late to get it,
Correct.
and
I can jump in, the advisory finance committee has a reserve fund for this kind of thing.
okay,
So what I would suggest is you give Walter, who's the chair, he's the library liaison and also the chair of that committee. Give him a heads up that this might be coming, just,
I already got,
okay, so, go ahead, good.
yeah, I've had a conversation with him to kind of float this and say, not sure where we're gonna end up with this, and it may be something that our budget has to come back up to town meeting, if it's significant. I don't think it will be.
I mean, right, I mean, honestly, we'd be looking at if it goes that way, we'd be looking at 6 months and then we'd have to bring it back up at fall time to readjust the budget due to a failed vote.
Yeah.
So that's what, and I think whatever they reduce it to will cover those 6 months.
Yeah, I'm more concerned, I don't know what our budget will be, as we know, it's kind of a contentious budget season, and that basically what's been asked is some version of a 1% reduction. I don't know what those will be, I don't know what will be proposed, I don't know how the library will be affected. And that will be something that we'll kind of have to discuss as we find out, and we get closer to town meeting. So, hey, I would, if you're not watching those meetings, now's kind of the time, so that we can see what the impact is on the library budget. I mean, part of what they're talking about is, I think the biggest discussion, if you've been watching the finance, committee meetings, and the select board meetings, is we're even talking about how most of this 1% will be a service impact. And maybe people. So those are the kinds of things that we're looking at, so I'm not sure what that will look like. When I find out, obviously, we will discuss it and figure out how to move forward.
Yeah. Can I go back, we were talking about the easement for their needing to vote on that,
Oh, yeah,
It's
what's your thoughts?
okay, I'd like to move.
Oh, hold on, I gotta pause for a minute, cause
Sure.
we have this open
Yeah.
currently,
Oh, right,
let's,
sorry.
and then we'll shift there. But yes, let's talk about it. Alright, any other questions on the budget, on the finance report? Then I'll take a motion to accept the finance report as presented.
I'll make a motion.
Someone second it?
I'll second.
Okay, all in favor? Anyone opposed? Great. Let's do the other one in this category and then we'll back up. Minutes. From January 22nd meeting. I don't have any changes to it. I'm gonna ask, did people get a chance to review it? If not, we can table it on. Did enough people, I reviewed it.
I did not review
We can wait.
Okay, so then we're gonna wait because we don't have enough to vote on it. Great. Okay, go ahead, Ed. Let's table back
Okay.
to,
So this is in regards to the easement to allow National Grid to enter property, so I move that the Board of Trustees authorize an easement for National Grid to enter the property as needed to install and maintain the electrical system for the library if the motion, the library building repair motion passes at the town meeting in March.
I will second that.
Say it again.
Oh, no. Okay, I move that the library trustees grant a utility easement, I'm changing the wording on the fly here, but grant a utility easement to National Grid to enter the property as needed for the purposes of installing and maintaining electrical service on the property. If the library building repair article passes at the March 2025 town meeting.
Wow.
Say that again. Yeah, he's like, oh my goodness, and I will second that motion.
And, you know, we'll run this by the OPM, and they'll run it by National Grid. The National Grid will probably have some legalistic tweaks they want to make, and then we'll come back and vote it
Then
again,
we'll-
but this is. If this
Hopefully
is
it'll
not
be good
clear enough
enough,
statement
so-
of intent.
All in favor? Anyone opposed? Wonderful. This way, hopefully, it's one less step we need to do later on. Okay, let's jump back up to Friends and Foundation. Outside of a very successful golf event, I think we're good on that. And then agenda items for next month's meeting. It's gonna be post-town meeting discussion. And reorganizing the board. So having said that, if there is a position that you are interested in possibly throwing your hat in for, or nominating somebody else for a position, please let me know.
Say it again.
So every year in March, we reorganize the board after elections.
Reorganize means.
So chair, vice
Oh,
chair,
okay.
corresponding secretary, recording secretary. And treasurer. Treasurer.
I used to be the treasurer.
Yeah,
Now I
so
understand.
if you are interested in pursuing a different role, please let us know. If you're in a role and you're like, heck, no, did it for you, get me out of here, let me know. Or if you are in a role and you would like to continue in that role, also let me know.
I'm happy to stay corresponding secretary.
Excellent.
I don't correspond at my place.
We appreciate it. All right, that's all I have for next month, I think.
It's on the 26th, is it right, March 26th?
Yes.
Yes. I think we'll have enough to kind of discuss after town meeting. So then. It's at 8:29 p.m. I would say, but it's 8:30. Take a motion to adjourn. Sure.
Second.
Excellent. All in favor? Bam, I love that.
On time and under budget
That's
practically.
amazing, right?
Like they say.
The first time.
Oh, really?
Good morning.
Thank you, everybody.